Welcome everybody! Grand Arena Championship exhibitions are just around the corner and everybody's all excited, right? Until you maybe saw your matchup. And the forums just exploded today with everybody complaining about the matchmaking. So matchmaking has been a huge complaint for pretty much as long as these have been going on. They've been matched up according to your galactic power, your GP, and GP really doesn't mean very much based on how you've built your roster. You can have a high GP but not very good characters, or vice versa. So it's not a great way to determine how good you are at Grand Arena, and that's why people have been complaining about it. So CG finally stepped in, and they're still using GP a little bit, but people have noticed something's been way off, and there have been some people matched up with opponents that have, in some cases, up to a million more GP than they do, and this is not going over well. And we kind of looked at it at first, and there's a reason for it. I actually like this new one. It's kind of weird. I normally am kind of critical of CG. The last couple weeks, I've actually been supporting them quite a bit, defending them. Kind of feels a little awkward to go through stretches like that sometimes, but I'm on board with this new matchmaking system for now. Not completely on board, but I actually like it a little better. And so here's actually what's going on. What we kind of figured out. We looked at a bunch of things and kind of figured out why it was doing that. But let's show an example of a matchup here that somebody on the forums was not too happy about. So if we look at this matchup, at first glance it looks awful. So GP 4.8 million versus 5.4 million. That's a 600,000 GP disadvantage. 400,000 disadvantage just in the Toon GP. If you look at the G12s, 99 versus 172. So that's a 73 character difference. That's a huge difference in terms of roster here. But what we have to consider is that, okay, so in this division, you're all going to be setting 8 teams on defense, so you need to attack with at least 8 teams on offense. So that's 16 teams total you have to use, max of 5 characters per team. That is 80 characters. So you may use more or less depending on if you go undersized, if you even get through everything, if it takes more than one battle. But a lot of matches you're going to use around 80 characters. And that's why we see this, because they have one of the biggest complaints before was all the so-called fluff GP, like who we basically got penalized for increasing your GP on characters that you were not using. So CG has changed that by only looking at the characters that you'll actually be using. I believe they stopped at 80 characters. I do not know that for sure, but we kind of did the math there. 80 is what you would use if you defeated everybody in one shot with a full team instead of full team on defense, obviously. So I believe that's where they cut this off. So if we look at just the top 80 characters, this matchup completely changes, because now you realize that, okay, this person has 172 G12 characters. Who cares? They're not going to use half of them. We don't need that. And if you come down, look at the G12 plus 5. So this is completely maxed out characters, since we can't go any further yet until this new gear is actually farmable. 34 versus 13. Now this person's actually got an advantage, and then if you swing over to mods, there's a huge mod advantage there. So now this person that initially looked like, okay, they're a huge underdog, they've got no chance, they're 600,000 GP down, actually looks like a favorite when you only consider the top characters. Now I don't know which characters they have. That can certainly play a role there. A team that's got the 172, I don't even know how many characters in the game. That feels like that's going to be most of them. So that's looking like a whale right there. But they're more likely to have to maybe build the correct counters or that type of thing. So it's not that there's no advantage there, but once you go out past your top 80 characters, the advantage greatly diminishes. And I think the mod advantage here is actually a much bigger factor. And it seems to me, as we compare some things, that mods are not being factored in. So it depends on what your goal is here with the matchmaking. Looking at just the top characters is a much better way to get even matchups. So if that is the goal, and remember these are just the first round, and as we go through, based on your win-loss record and which league you get up into, that's going to have some factors in as well. So people who overachieve are going to match up against better players. So we have to remember this is just the very first matchup. You're going to get a closer matchup here, and some people don't like that. Some people do. That's been the biggest complaint, was that you're not getting even matchups. So now the people who are against this are saying, well, I farmed specifically for Grand Arena. I built my roster lean because of that. I should have an advantage, and I feel like you're punishing people who, especially with this territory battle going on, people have artificially increased their GP for territory battles. I remember doing that when the first territory battles came out, and then you feel like you're punished for something that you shouldn't be punished for. So I don't like punishing that collecting aspect, the increasing GP for territory battles. So my personal opinion is that we shouldn't be looking past those top so many characters. Now I think 80 is cutting it off a little soon, if that's really what it is. That seems to be the number. I would say maybe you should look, maybe have a 1-to-1 ratio for the top 80, and then 80 through 100 or so. Maybe only count them for half, so they get factored in a little bit, but it's not as much. And maybe have diminishing returns as you go down. That might be a better way to do it, and still having a cutoff. So I'm not sure there, but I like this better. Now the thing I have mixed feelings on is the mod. So you get in the same discussion. Should you reward people with that advantage for farming mods? Because based on this right here, this screams focus all of your crystals, all of your energy farming mods, because that's going to give you the biggest advantage. So this person has a huge mod advantage. Let's look at one of the other ones here that's been a complaint. So here's another good example where this person is okay. So again, we've got 600,000 GP down. Kind of similar numbers here. But look at this mod disadvantage. 6-dot mods, 90 versus 315. Forget the G12 characters up there, because it can go both ways. But the plus 20 speed mods, 36 versus 22. Plus 10 speed mods, 514 versus 296. This person is at a huge disadvantage here. And it's not just because of the G12 characters, but because of those mods. And I feel like we need to adjust for that somewhat. You do want to reward those people that actually farm those mods, but it's also so RNG based. Not necessarily in this case. Obviously, they've spent a lot of effort on their mods, and they should have an advantage for that. But I think that advantage will come naturally as they move up, anyways, because those characters are going to be so hard to beat. So I'm kind of have mixed feelings there. This matchup here I don't like. That feels like that person has no chance going in on a very first round of Grand Arena, and I don't think it should be that way. But this would happen with the old system as well. So not this specific matchup, but mods being that unbalance could happen with the old system as well. So the new one, I believe, is getting closer. It's not completely there, but I think it is an improvement as far as getting matchups that are more even and more fun to play in that first round, and then we can go from there and see how things progress after that. We haven't seen what happens as you progress into different leagues yet, so I don't know what to say there. But I think a lot of people on the forums are overreacting because they can't get past that GP. That GP has been kind of ingrained in us as a thing to look at. It's always been how everybody's matched up before, and it was the big complaint. They've addressed it. Again, I think there's still some improvements that they can make, and they've said that they're going to tweak them to matchups based on what they see the matchmaking formula. So I hope everybody has a good showing. Doesn't just give up when they see this, so that CG can get some good data. But I think we are at least moving in a positive direction. We're not there yet, but they are doing some good things. So let's not freak out about the matchmaking yet, and let's see, because I think you're going to see a lot of these people that are look like they're at severe disadvantages actually pull off some victories. So I wish everybody good luck. I know I've got a very challenging matchup myself in the first one, so I'm kind of excited to get in this and see how this goes. Got somebody with a very lean roster who's obviously focused on Grand Arena, so we'll see how that goes. But I wish everybody the best of luck, and I hope this goes smoothly, and maybe we're done with the bugs, or at least the huge bugs for Grand Arena, and we can actually get in and enjoy this, because I think this is going to be great for the game, even if some people can't quite see it yet. So I've got some more videos planned, so stay tuned. Hopefully, can get back to doing some fun new strategies, and I know that's what a lot of you guys subscribe to me for. Maybe I can get some test server access soon. I'm really pushing CG to finally give that to me, because then I could flood you guys with all sorts of videos, and that would be amazing. So let's cross our fingers, and maybe I can get that soon. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Have a good night.